Are you looking forward to start your journey in programming? But before enrolling in this world of computer programming, you want to know what is it all about. What is programming, what are the concepts you'll learn in programming, and how to get started. In this video, I will cover everything you need to know to get started with programming. Programming simply refers to the concept of giving the computer step-by-step and detailed instructions to execute. It is like reading the catalog of a Rubik's Cube. The catalog shows you step-by-step instructions to follow in order to solve this Rubik's Cube. If you miss one step, then you'll never solve the Rubik's Cube. Same for a computer. If you miss one instruction, the whole process is corrupted. So these instructions must be detailed, precise, and organized. But how to give instructions to a computer? Computers use machine language or binary language, which consists of zeros and ones, which is very hard for us to learn. This is why humans learn programming languages. Programming languages are not English, nor binary language, but somewhere in the middle. These are languages we learn properly and use to translate ideas to machine language, like a calculator app. You use a programming language to transform your idea into machine language and get a functional program. There's a lot of programming languages out there, and each have different rules, syntax, features, and purposes. Python is a language used for data science, for example, but C is a language used to build embedded systems, for example. Also, some languages are harder than others, like assembly language is a low-level language, meaning it is a language that has a syntax close to binary language. However, Python is 10 times easier than assembly because it is a high-level language, meaning its syntax is close to English, making it easier for developers to write code. Now that we know what is programming and programming languages, where do we even write code? Can we simply open a Word document and write anything? Well, we can't. We need to use IDEs or Integrated Development Environment, or if you want, a special text editor that allows you to write, run, and debug code. IDEs like VS Code, for example, offer features such as error checking, spelling mistakes, and autofill. But what to write on an IDE? Basically, each language has rules to follow. For example, Python has its own rules and syntax, or grammar, compared to C++, who has different rules and syntax. Indeed, both are programming languages and share similar programming concepts, which we will cover today, but each language has its own specialty. For example, we want to display on the console "Hello World", and the console is where the computer will offer you an output. In Python, you'll say print "Hello World" in quotations. However, in JavaScript, it is totally different. We say console.log "Hello World" with a semicolon at the end. Now let us start with a fundamental programming concept, which is a variable. In programming, a variable stores a certain type of data. Say you have a small box which you labeled it as box 1. So box 1 stores your history book, for example. Same for variables. They are boxes with names that can store a single piece of data. But what kind of data? In programming, we need to work with data, and data has various types. Let us see what they are. We have integers, which are numbers that can be positive or negative. Float and double are numbers that can have a decimal point. Booleans that can only be true or false. Strings refers to plain text like "Hello World", and we use double quotation marks to make the computer understand that it is a string. And chars are simply characters like the letter A, and we use single quotation to reference a char. These are the main data types in every programming language, and each data type takes a certain amount of space inside the memory. But how can we store them inside a variable? Each language has its own way of declaring a variable and storing information inside it. Like in Python, we can simply write the name of the variable and store whatever value we want. However, in languages like C++, you first need to specify what type of data this variable will store. In our case, it will be an integer. Then specify the variable name and assign the value to our variable. Now, why we use variables? Well, now we know that they store data for us, and we can use this data by referencing the variable in our program by just typing its name. An example would be a small program that takes a username and says hello to the user. What happens is that we store the input of the user inside a variable and then print the value that is inside the variable. We can also store numbers inside these variables and perform some arithmetic operation, such as adding two variables together or subtracting two variables. In programming, control flow allows you to make decisions that will impact the flow of your code. We use statements called if statements that allows us to check if a certain condition is true or false. For example, if it is raining, I will get an umbrella. So if the condition passed inside the if statement is true, I will get an umbrella. However, if it is false, I could say otherwise or else I won't get an umbrella. Sometimes you may have more than one condition, so you'll use else if right after the if statement. And you can have multiple else if statements, but only one if and else. If the if statement evaluates false, it will jump to the else if statement and evaluates its condition, and if it is true, it will execute its own block of code. But if it is false, it will jump to the else statement, which will be executed because all of the conditions above evaluated false. We spoke about variables and how they can store a single value. But what if you want to store more than one value? This is where we will use arrays. Arrays are simply lists that can store multiple related data types. Like you can create an array that stores integers from 1 to 10. Also, we can use index values, which represents the position of each element inside the array. For example, number 1 here is at index 0, and in programming we start counting from 0. However, arrays have a fixed length, so once defined, you can't change their size. But instead of arrays, we have array lists. That has a similar concept to arrays, which is storing multiple values, but unlike arrays, they can store elements of different type. So I can have a string, a number, and a boolean stored in the same array list. And with array lists, you are able to add and remove elements. So this is a small overview about arrays and array lists. Another important concept in programming is loops. We will discuss the two main loops you'll encounter. First, a loop is a statement that allows you to repeat a block of code a certain number of times. Let us start with the for loop. It is a loop that takes a number, then a condition, then the increment. Here I'm printing hello world 5 times. Well, how exactly? Because the number here acts as a counter. At first it is equal to 1. It checks the condition, and if it evaluates false, it will run the block of code below, and then add +1 to our counter, which now makes it 2. This process will be repeated until our number becomes 6 and the condition evaluates false. However, a while loop is a bit different. You define the counter outside the while loop, and then you specify the while statement and with the condition. Then inside the block of code, you write whatever you want to do and then increment the counter. This will give us the same output as the for loop. Also know that it is important to set a condition that the program will eventually reach, or it will cause an infinite loop. Like this program, where I am saying that I is equal to 10 and the condition says I less than or equal to 0, but we are adding 1 to I at each iteration. This eventually means that I will never be less than or equal to 0 to be able to terminate this loop. And in this while loop, we actually forgot to increment our counter at each iteration. So what will happen here is that our counter will stay equal to 0 and we have actually created an infinite loop. Functions in programming are elements that contain reusable code. Basically, a function does something, like the print statement is a function that prints something on the console. However, you don't see the implementation of the print function because it is done by Python itself and offered to you. To use a function similar to a print statement, all you need to do is call the function by its name. And you can call the same function as much as you want. But can you create a function? Well, of course you can, and here is how. Some functions can have a return type. In a simple way, a function can return a specific data type for you. Like when you add two numbers, you want to get back the output. In this case, you'll specify that the output return should be an integer. Also, a function can take arguments, which are variables passed to the function that it is able to work on. In our case, these variables store numbers that we can add together by simply mentioning the variable name and adding them together. Also, a function can have nothing to return. We call it a void function. And the function can also not receive any arguments at all, like the following function, which is created to simply print hello world with no return type or arguments. Another important concept you'll encounter in programming is errors. Errors, also referred as bugs, are annoying, but they help us improve as programmers. Some errors, like syntax errors, where you misspelled a keyword or forgot a semicolon at the end, or runtime errors, like you did an infinite loop, are easy to catch because the IDE is able to tell you where to find them. However, errors like logical errors can't be detected by the system Because logic errors occurs when everything is working fine, but the output is unexpected, like you are adding two numbers but instead got their product. Here's where you can use a debugger, for example, to go through your code and see how it is flowing and identify your mistake. Or sometimes you can read your code line by line and try to figure out how your code is working to be able to catch the mistake and deal with it. Remember, errors in programming are very common and you'll always encounter them, so make sure to stay patient and you'll be able to solve the problem. How to get started with programming? Which language should you choose? What I recommend is to start with Python. Python is a very beginner-friendly and easy programming language to get started with. It teaches you the fundamentals of programming and it is by far the best for beginners. Also, this will give you the opportunity to explore the tech industry and identify what career you want to pursue. Maybe after learning Python, you decided to learn web development, or you decided to learn mobile development. Because you already have the basics of programming, you will see that it is relatively very easy to learn other languages because you already acquired the core concepts of programming. And this is the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. I invite you to click on one of these videos that will appear right now, and I hope to see you in one of these videos.